Hi, and welcome to Moral High Ground, where I talk about what's morally right and we try to fix it or makes you think you have a moral high ground. Anyway, this is played on, you know, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and of course, Spotify, the home of type music and everything else. So, check them out. Check this thing out for previous episodes, ancient episodes. And you might learn something, might give you a thing to think about, whatnot. Today, I'm talking about what's slander and defamation of character. Now, on a previous episode, I was talking about believing in something based off of something I've seen recently that's changed perspective on society and how things go down with justice, people doing the wrong thing and getting praised for it instead of being penalized for it. Because let's face it, if the justice system was really trying to fix things and the government of your local city was trying to fix things, there'd be less criminals in the street and more of them behind bars paying the penalties for their actions. One thing I've learned through life and through certain jobs is if somebody doesn't get penalized for their actions, they will continue to do the same thing. And in some cases, more likely to do it often, like constantly. Okay. So this is something that is a problem. With that being said, on the current subject, slander and defamation of character, if someone slanders you or uses your image in some kind of negative light and pretty much labels you, that individual will continue to do it unless you stand up or find some kind of way to make them feel a penalty for actions of the things they said and how they made you feel. Okay, with that being said, Oregon, Portland, they don't have defamation of character legally. It's slander, which is a different form of defamation of character. The issue with this is that people will continue to say little things. Now, this might be a democratic state, as they say, but everybody thinks Republican. Pretty much all the main population, or should I say, the main minority group, which shouldn't be hard to figure out, always thinks in that old way. And so they already come at people with all kinds of negative racist ways of thinking, all kinds of ways to these stereotypes to benefit themselves as the most superior thing, even though they could be the person that's the lowest person on earth, the weakest person, and one pretty much that falls for anything. And yet they will tell the other person that of color or race that they are littler than them, that they are below them and stuff just based off of their skin color, nothing alone but that. So that automatically is a form of slander, defamation of character, racism, and non-bias uh, sayings, I should say. Unconscious bias, that's what I'm trying to say. So the thing about it is, Portland, Oregon, regardless of how beautiful you think it is, how cool you think it is, no matter what part of the country you're in, and you think this about Oregon and Portland, you got to realize there's always an unconscious bias within this city and this state that people automatically will say things and act a certain way that's racist and act like they're not aware of it, when most of the time they truly are. And so this type of slander, this type of hypocrisy needs to be abolished. It needs to be eliminated, and those people that do these things need to pay the penalties for their actions, be drug out, and made a mockery in front of everybody. This is one of them things where you wish you had the stocks and stuff. You put people in the things and throw tomatoes at them, you know, things like that, or public humiliation is what I'm saying, because that's what they're trying to do to you. They're publicly trying to humiliate you in front of other people. So they need that public humiliation. They need to bring back the British way of humiliating people that was back in the 16th, 17th, 1800s. We need to put people with their hands hanging like this in the head and tomatoes being thrown at them, people pissing on them, whatever it is, to humiliate them in public society. That would be a perfect form of getting rid of this unconscious bias, as well as this labeling and mocking and should I say, defamation of character is the only way to overcome this hatred, this sick way of thinking. Forget about being woke and standing up for something because most of those people just want to be involved in something. They don't care about what the cause is, they just want to be there. I learned this from Black Lives Matter. I think we all have. When that time came with COVID, so many people popped out of woodworks to be part of these things, and then where'd they go? What do they stand for? What bill was passed to change the things that they were talking about? Not a damn thing happened. And on top of that, where was the leader? There was no leader. Even though you got people saying, oh, on the news that the leader did this and there's money going here and there, all this crap. Where was he? Where was that? How come they weren't speaking up on the news, standing up for the whole freaking cause? Because there wasn't one. Now, you can easily say I'm slandering right now a company, organization. But I'm speaking up to thinking about why. Okay? It's not just me speaking against it, slandering it. It's just why do people follow things without putting more thought into it, more effort, how you say it, more effort and follow through. This is happening constantly. Constantly. There's people running around just making all these little messed up decisions that don't just mess up your life, but mine, as yours as well. And so things that need to be analyzed and thought about. In a workplace, they say that they stand up for people that are black or whatever. And the thing about it is not true. Because if you got some people in there that's been working 10, 15 years plus, maybe more, and then a person of color comes in and that individual has a problem, they're going to get rid of you before they get rid of that person that's been there for 15, 10, 20 years plus. Because they assume that person is better at knowing the job, even if the job doesn't get things taken care of in an immediate way. You know, I had this problem happen in a place that dealt with acid chemicals and stuff, and I was like, fuck this place, you know. And the funny thing is, and the thing that trips me out is these places have tests on how they supposed to run procedures in their business, and somewhere in there, there's always one they poke a hole at, and they don't follow through with it. And in that case, it was unconscious bias. They can say anything racist, and then instead of dealing with the situation, you want to move anybody that's black or Mexican or whatever to a night shift to avoid being around those people instead of trying to analyze these people who have what, if I remember right, they had like 5 months back orders of stuff that they were supposed to get done 5 months ago. I come in there and I'm moving 20 products and nope, I'm making them look bad. So how they gonna make me look bad is by humiliating me in unconscious bias way, which was wrong and completely destructive in a way. You playing a dangerous game with people when you do these things, and so because you don't know how someone's gonna react. You know, there's people who have trigger words, and certain things you say can trigger something. And this is especially needs to be understood amongst Caucasian people. They will say things that will automatically trigger somebody. You don't even know. You could be like, "Hey guy," and that "Hey guy" happened to somebody that was black. And then when they heard that word, someone cracked them upside the head with a baseball bat or knocked the hell out of them. You don't know. So every time they hear that, they think something fucked up and is racist. It's just like somebody saying top of the morning to you. I remember one time, and I was doing it because I was doing my little Irish impression. I can do a little Irish voice or Scottish voice. And dude was like, why you keep saying top of the morning, man? Like, yeah, like he had a problem with me. It was just because I was just being funny that day. Like, top of the morning, they like, and this dude getting mad. Like, that's some racist shit. Why they said that? Because it's, once again, trigger word. Someone racist did something to him and he heard that word first, that phrase, I should say. And so you have to ponder these things like, what am I saying? You know, like I had a group of guys that were talking to me and they were asked about racism and I was just explaining it simplified, in a certain way. You know what I mean? And it's a little bit deeper. I'm not going to get into it because the conversation here isn't about race. It's about people demeaning your character. But what I'm going to say is this. I said to him, He said, why does every black person uh, say that we racist when we're not? I said, because you say the same thing. You might not be aware of what you're saying, but what you're saying is being racist because it's a freaking trigger word to that person if you understand what that is. Okay? And so I'm just going to simplify that as another thing. Trigger words are words that are said that will get to somebody because it makes them think of a negative situation or a negative outcome. And it's something that happened to them that makes it a trigger word, makes them ready to strike at any time, any given time. And so these words are said daily, constantly, but especially in a state like Oregon, it's said more than normal. You don't have other states where people come straight out with it, and they'll say something like the N word or something, they'll be straight to the point. But in places like here, they try to cover it up and they twist it a certain way, knowing that they're racist. And so it's just really jacked up. That spread, that divide shouldn't even be there when we're all in the same boat struggling to try to make a buck, you know, or steady trying to figure out how to pay our bills or put food on the table. It makes no sense that that stuff still exists, but it will always exist because there's no other threat than humans. We are our own biggest predator and prey. We're our own monsters, demons, angels, saints. We're all that. Humans took over the planet and have not just destroyed and damaged it, but damaged the very way of living with the it factor. We all have the it factor. We all want shelter, love, food, comfort. These things are something that's embedded in all of us, not just as people, but as Americans, as a being. And we need to find a way to make sure that the it factor works for all of us, or it shouldn't work for none of us at all. And that's the truth. We should all feel comfortable. We should all feel safe in our neighborhoods, our cities, our blocks. We should all feel safe in our own homes. We should all feel that we can afford food or have food for kids and people, all that. We all should feel loved. There should not be this big separation between women. I watched the video today, and women are talking about, how they hate men, sexual man, and no man is good. And the women and the dudes are all like, these women, they so stupid, this and that. I mean, I watched a couple of YouTube videos. I was like, I'm done because it's just like straight up. Why are you making it so difficult? The other women are jealous because the other ones get men because they think they're not attractive and all this nonsense. Just go talk to a guy. If you're single, just go talk to a guy and see if you can work it out. But don't come at him with this, can I get money and all the ignorant shit. It's not going to make a dude. Once you're going to get tired of you, straight up from the joint. It's like me. I'll watch a woman. I'll spend time with her if I like her, but I'll watch her. Watch how she say, what she does, and how she acts. And if I don't dig it, I'm not going to talk to her again. In some cases, I can yell and argue and do all that stuff, but what's the point? You know what I'm saying? She's selling herself thin and short, not realizing the value I might have. And because of her past traumas or memories, it'll make her realize that she's just going to think, not even realize, she's just going to automatically think that I'm in the same boat as the other guys. And that's the thing with women. They hold grudges, but grudges towards new people that they won't give a chance to because they're stuck on the other one or the other ones or the others. And so it's like that. And then guys are on this thing, we're a similar thing. But it's different. It's more like this girl ain't gonna get me, not like the other girl. And so that's how they do it. They try to get it before they can get theirs. If I said that right, and if you understand what I'm saying, because I trip on my tongue. But there's slander in there. The girl will automatically label you, thinking you're like some other guy or whatever, and it messes the relationship up. And so, or how she talks, it's gonna make you say, ugh. But in that case, guys take it to a point where they're gonna use it to where they can get sex out of her and get rid of her. And then when it comes to girls, it's the same scenario. But the only difference is, the only difference is with guys, you know what I'm saying? They already gonna prove what they want and what they don't want. But I don't think either side knows what value in a person means. and having love and understanding for someone, or having the patience to truly talk to somebody. If you meet a girl and you bring her around you and you can barely have a conversation with you, that crap ain't going nowhere. That's a hit it and quit it moment, or just get rid of it altogether. And that's just my opinion. Okay. And that same, I don't know about guy thing, but girls got to stand up a little bit and have more value to themselves. Yes, the time period says to be sexy and attractive. It also says that a woman's got more power, needs respect, and all this. But at the same time, let's break it down to the basic uh, biochemistry. A man needs a woman needs a man. And if a man can't value a woman without trying to belittle her or find her appealing and trying to search her mind for things that she's intelligent in, then it's a waste of time. You know, man should be able to admire a woman that he likes for every quality that she has, but you have to search for those qualities to see if she's worth valuing. And this is just my opinion. And the same thing with girls. You need to search for what makes this person valuable, not just because they're sexy, not just because you girls think they're got money or whatever, but you need to see the value. Will he be able to long term care for me? Will the guy be able to long term help you out financially or work with you? I believe working with somebody is better than just saying that they got money so they're gonna take care of me. Because I don't care if I have money, if I make money off of this or anything. I'm not just gonna take care of a woman that doesn't want to try to take care of herself or work with me. So it doesn't make any sense. So it's just like magnets. They keep floating by each other, but they never get together because they're floating past each other because of magnetism or our opposite magnet. I can't do that science right now, but my point is slander all over that because it's always I hate women, I hate men, and yada yada yada, and nobody's right. So you're wrong, but I just had to say that. I know it's long. Someone's gonna understand what I'm saying. It's gonna make sense if it makes sense to anybody. So my point is, this stuff is chaotic. We talk so much about things, but nothing gets done. And it's even harder if you're in a workplace and someone's trying to slander you, and all you're trying to do is work to make money and make a living. You know, we're all in the same boat in that case. If we're working the same job, you should be able to come together and be cool and do it. This is why I think there's a problem with how they got rid of all the mom and pop shops. Because at least you had real family working together that knew each other. And you didn't have that slander problem unless it's a family member who doesn't really get along with the others. But in that sense, when people get these jobs, they say, "Oh, we're like family. We're all this and that." You're not. Do you go out and hang out with everybody at work at night? Not really. Some people do. Some people don't. Some like being around a lot of people at work and consider them friends and allies, and other people don't. So it's like you're all over the fucking place, you know. And it always comes down to why they don't like them, and that's where you get slandered. Oh, I don't like that person because, they came to work with this, or they eat that, or they like what's her face, or she likes him, and weird nonsense, petty nonsense, man. This real whack shit. And the thing about it is, we gotta understand there's a time and a place for everything, and there's a time to socialize with people and a time not to. But with the way we live in this world, you know better than the next person. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, and you're not in politics and you're just a common citizen. None of that shit matters. Quit talking about being a Democrat and Republican because you need to stop looking at it with blinders on your eyes and just going for what they supposedly stand for. And look at what the government's doing to us. Look at why we're in a recession. Look at this stuff. And then analyze it logically. It's the same thing with all kinds of stuff. If you look at it logically, they're rich, they have power, we're peasants, we're below them, and they treat us as such. I don't care if you have 200,000 in the bank, man, you got 200,000 in the bank, you are still lower than the next person. You're not middle class anymore. Trump and all kinds of rich people have said they're middle class. So if they're middle class, then what the hell are you with 200 grand in your bank? It means you're close to poverty if you can't figure a way to make that money work for you. Unless you have $36 million, your money's going to be gone. Because if you make 36 million, if you have that much money, there's no way you can truly go broke. It's always going to come back to you through residuals, through investments, things like that. Unless you've got the 200,000 and you're able to invest in something that's worthwhile, that's going to triple your money and bring it back to where it was, then you're shit out of luck, and then you're in the same boat as everybody else. We're in the city. If you're in Portland and you're watching this, then you need to hear what I'm about to say, because this is, once again, it goes going off of, it's taken away from what I'm being subject of slander and defamation of character is. But I'm going to explain something, how they look at you as, slander you with the fact that you are on poverty level, and all that is because of the property raising everywhere. Yes, there's homeless people. They terrorizing the city. Only like 10,000, I guess, now, homeless people, over 600,000 people. And with property prices raising, rent going up constantly, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be constant rent. They tell you it's a low income house, and every year your rent goes up. How's it low income if you gave somebody time and yet they still can't make enough money because they're paying monthly rent that's about $500, $700, maybe $1,000, and yet you're still in the hole because you got bills to pay, but outside of rent, you got clothes. This is your basic needing, food, clothing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe transportation prices, all these things. It adds up, and so you're not happy. Nobody's really happy. And living in an apartment is no freaking cake of water. Like I was telling my cousin this the other day. Like, I had houses, yo. I was like, rents, though. I paid my rent, as you call, for staying in a house that you buy. It's literally buy. I'm not talking about mortgage. I spent 135 grand on a house, yo. I didn't pay nothing all until the year's over. You pay once a year, property taxes. And mortgage makes you pay monthly. That means you don't own your home, even though people think, oh, I got a house, I'm paying mortgage. You don't own it. You're paying on it. It's still the same damn thing as rent. But when you own it, like I used to, because I had two of them, I just paid once a year. My mom's old house and my house. Then I had another one later on. But the thing about it was, I paid yearly, so I had shit to worry about. And then being thrown in this crap behind, messing with the wrong woman, and getting back into society and trying to live like the rest of y'all, and buying or renting a place and doing this, and working the shittiest jobs in some cases. Yo, how in the hell is America living like this? How is people seriously surviving out here? We're not. We're struggling. We're fighting to stay alive, biting each other to get to the top of the freaking Happy Meal, I guess. I don't know. But I'm saying we're being slandered as bums. For them to keep putting wages on wages and raising rent and all this crap, you are being labeled as freaking what? You're being labeled as a waste of space. You're being labeled as a peasant. That's what you are. And this is the truth. I don't care if you're going to say, oh, you're stupid, you don't make no sense. I'm making perfect logic. You're just not analyzing it properly. We're not getting these grants and things that's were really truly for us. There's not things that giving out the true information on what you want to do. And with people running around wild like animals in the city, destroying businesses, pretty soon these companies won't last anymore. And when they don't last, why is there a city? Because you're not going to bring any more tourists in. You're not going to bring anything great in. The most oddest thing to me is there's a skyscraper being built, but yet all the businesses are leaving the area where the skyscraper is going to be. So it makes no sense. It's a waste of money. You know, it's even greater waste when you try to put yourself out there and you're being ignored in all kinds of ways. You have to get rid of selfish pride, people, and pride for things that don't matter, and put it into worrying about trying to make your life focused on making your life right and strong, regardless of what anybody else says. Someone steps in your door and try to tell you who you are, what they think you're doing, and how you're doing. That person's slandering you, They're using defamation of character, and ultimately the only reason why they're doing it is because they feel bad about themselves and who they are. People want to degrade you and put you down because they don't like who they are or the way they're living and the things they're doing in life. I'm gonna break it down like this. There was a man that walked this earth that was greater than you and me. And that man got called all kinds of names, got talked bad to, got all kinds of discretion and slapped and all that. Okay? But I'm telling you something. That man was Jesus Christ. And you know what? He still keeps getting talked about to this day. And it's been over 2,000 years. Okay? If you can make yourself humble enough for that, you could stand up for anything. So with that being said, I want to say good job to all of y'all that's trying. Peace be with you. Blessings upon you always. Until next time, this is Moral High Ground. Peace.